The sky wasn't a sky anymore. It was a swirling bruise of violet and gold, shifting like liquid metal as Austin's escape pod sliced through it. His hands gripped the controls, eyes wide as warning lights painted his face red. The ship's AI screamed something about atmospheric destabilization, but Austin had already accepted that the descent wasn't going to be clean. He crashed through a forest canopy made of glass leaf trees, shards scattered like diamonds, and the pod skidded to a stop in soil that shimmered faintly under the twin moons. Silence followed, a deep, heavy silence that pressed against his helmet. Austin took a breath. Still breathing. That's something. He staggered out, suit sparking from torn circuits. The air was breathable, barely. It smelled of ozone and wet stone. In every direction, the forest glowed faintly purple, veins of bioluminescent roots snaking across the ground. It was beautiful, but beauty in space always had a price. By nightfall, the temperature dropped to near freezing. The pilot's training screamed one word: fire. He gathered strange wood, their cores pulsing faintly like living things. Sparks danced as he struck metal against stone. When the flame finally caught, it burned blue, casting ghost-like light across his visor. Austin sat back, staring at the flames. "This'll do," he whispered, "at least for tonight." But the forest was listening. Miles away, two figures watched through the haze, motionless, silhouettes cloaked in the glow of the trees. Their eyes weren't human. They reflected light like the eyes of hunting cats. Parker tilted her head slightly. "He's not from here." Her voice was low, like the hum of the planet's wind itself. Beside her, Natalia's jaw tightened. "He lit a flame." "That's forbidden." Parker's gaze lingered on the streak of smoke rising into the violet sky. "He doesn't know what it means." "Then he's already doomed." Back at the camp, Austin stared at the fire as shadows danced around him. The warmth comforted him. But there was something wrong about it. The light didn't just reach outward, it pulled inward, like the forest was feeding on its energy. His suit scanner beeped softly. Unidentified heat signatures detected. Approaching. Austin's heart pounded. He grabbed his flare pistol and rose to his feet, scanning the tree line. "Hello?" he called out. No answer, just the slow creak of branches. And then, movement. Two shapes glided out of the dark, graceful and silent. The firelight hit their skin. It shimmered like amethyst dust, patterned like armor but alive, moving with their breath. They carried no visible weapons, yet the way they moved made it clear they didn't need any. Austin froze. One of them, taller, sharper gaze, stepped forward. "You've broken the quiet," she said. "Do you know what fire calls?" He blinked, unsure if his translator was working. Who are you?" The other one, Parker, circled the flame, her eyes scanning every detail of his suit. "He's a traveler," she murmured. "Fell from the sky." Natalia's tone was cold. "Then he brought death with him." Austin lowered his pistol slowly. "Wait, I didn't mean to. I just needed warmth. I'm not your enemy." Parker's eyes softened, but only slightly. "You don't belong here. The fire you made, it's not just light, it's a signal. Everything that hunts in the dark, everything that sleeps beneath this ground, now knows where you are." Austin's stomach dropped. "Signal to who?" Before anyone could answer, the earth beneath them shuddered. A sound rose from the distance, a deep, rolling growl that vibrated through the soil. The fire's color flickered, shifting from blue to violent red. Natalia's eyes snapped toward the trees. "They're already coming." Parker grabbed Austin by the arm, her strength surprising. "If you want to live," she hissed, "run!" The forest exploded in light, roots ripping apart, creatures crawling from beneath the glowing soil. Austin stumbled, pulled by Parker as Natalia covered their escape, her hands glowing faintly with bioluminescent energy that pulsed like lightning. They sprinted through the alien woods, the fire dying behind them, but the sound of pursuit only grew louder. Austin looked back once and saw shapes, too many, too fast, slithering through the light. He had wanted warmth. Instead, he had called the planet's nightmares to life. As they reached the ridge, Parker shoved him behind a jagged rock. The three of them crouched in the dark, the creature's roars echoing below. Austin's breath came in ragged bursts. What the hell are they? Natalia's eyes glowed faintly. The reason we never make fire. The first night on this planet wasn't over, and for Austin, it was only the beginning. The alien forest was alive with whispers. Every leaf, every glowing vein in the soil seemed to tremble as Austin crouched behind the stone, breathing hard. The ground still quaked from whatever his fire had awakened. Parker's voice broke through the silence. They'll track the heat first. We need to move before the scent settles. Austin nodded, still catching his breath. What are they? Natalia turned her head slightly, her sharp eyes scanning the horizon. Hunters. Not like us. They crawl from beneath the roots when fire calls to them. Austin's pulse thudded in his ears. The sound of movement, wet, dragging, echoed from somewhere below the ridge. He tightened his grip on the flare pistol. Parker glanced back at him. If you use that, they'll find us faster. No more light. He hesitated, then lowered the weapon. The forest swallowed the small flicker of safety he'd felt. They moved quickly, silent through the alien undergrowth. The twin moons threw long shadows that glimmered like liquid silver. Austin followed close behind them, noticing how Parker's movements were fluid and deliberate, like she'd memorized every step of the planet. Natalia, on the other hand, never once looked back. She walked like someone who didn't run from anything. After an hour, they stopped near a ridge of black stone that jutted out over a glowing river. Mist curled from it, cold and shimmering. Parker pointed down the slope. There's an old hollow below, safe for a few hours. Austin's throat was dry. You keep saying safe like it's temporary. Natalia gave a small, humorless smile. On this world, everything is temporary. They slid down the slope and into the hollow, a cavern shaped by glassy roots. Inside, faint blue fungi gave off just enough light to reveal the space. Austin collapsed against a rock, exhaustion pressing down. For the first time since the crash, there was a fragile quiet. Austin removed his cracked helmet and rubbed his face. I should have died when the ship hit. Guess I got lucky. Parker looked up from where she was inspecting her wristband. An alien piece of bone and crystal that pulsed softly. You didn't get lucky, she said. The planet lets you live. For now. That wasn't comforting. He stared at the glowing fungi. You keep talking about the planet like it's alive. Natalia's voice was calm, distant. Because it is. Everything here breathes the same pulse. Fire disrupts that pulse. It's like shouting in a temple. Austin let the words sink in. So by lighting that fire, I basically screamed into your god's face? Parker's lips twitched, almost a smile. Exactly. A sudden rumble shook the cavern. Dust fell from the ceiling. Natalia's head snapped up, eyes narrowing. They're close. Austin stood, adrenaline surging again. How did they track us so fast? Parker pressed her palm to the ground. The veins of light beneath it pulsed faster. The fire leaves a scar. The planet remembers where it burned. From outside, a sound like glass breaking echoed through the night. Then another. Then a chorus of low, distorted clicks. Communication. Hunting calls. Austin's heart pounded. What do we do? Natalia's eyes glowed faintly as she turned toward the tunnel. We fight. Parker looked at her sharply. There are too many. Then we make sure he doesn't die first. Austin stared between them. I'm right here, you know. Neither answered. The first creature appeared at the mouth of the cave, a tall, insect-like figure made of black shell and shifting light. Its limbs bent wrong. Its mouth was a spiral of teeth. It hissed, the sound vibrating through the air like static. Natalia moved first. Her hand shot forward, summoning a burst of violet energy that slammed the creature into the rock wall. The air smelled of burnt ozone. Austin stumbled back, eyes wide. What the hell? Parker didn't give him time to finish. She grabbed a shard of bioluminescent crystal from the wall and hurled it like a blade. It sliced through the creature's head. The body convulsed, then shattered into dust that glowed before fading away. Silence again. Parker's chest rose and fell fast. More will come. Austin swallowed hard. You two, You're not human, are you? Natalia turned to him, her expression unreadable. Does it matter? You're on our world now. Austin stared at her glowing eyes, at the faint patterns running along her arms. Guess not. Another rumble, this time deeper. Outside, the forest shimmered as if something enormous moved through it. Parker's voice dropped. That's not one of the crawlers. Natalia looked to the horizon, her face hardening. No, that's the Queen. Austin's pulse spiked. Queen of what? Parker answered quietly. The ones you called with your fire. The distant ground cracked with a thunderous roar. Blue fire erupted along the treetops as the Queen rose, towering, shadowed, and moving directly toward the hollow. Austin stared through the gap in the rocks, his mind blank. The night tore open. Austin had never seen anything like it. The trees bowed outward as something massive pushed through the forest, dragging entire roots from the soil. Bioluminescent leaves fluttered down like ash, each glowing ember marking the path of destruction. Parker grabbed Austin's wrist. Don't look directly at her. He tried to pull free. Why? What even is? Before he could finish, a deep hum filled the air. The sound wasn't just noise. It crawled inside his head, pressing against his thoughts. He stumbled, clutching his temples as his vision blurred. Natalia's voice cut through the chaos. Block your mind, human. She speaks through the pulse. Austin fell to one knee, gasping. The pulse? What are you talking about? Parker crouched beside him, her eyes flashing. The heartbeat of the planet. She controls it. The hum shifted, low and mournful. The trees shivered. And then she appeared. The Queen rose from the riverbed, towering higher than the canopy. A creature woven of light and bone, wings like fractured glass, body rippling with violet fire. Her face was smooth, almost human, but her eyes were endless black voids. Every flicker of movement around her echoed through the air, like sound made solid. Austin stared, entranced despite the pain. She's beautiful. Natalia's tone was ice. She's death. The Queen's gaze turned toward their hollow, and the air itself thickened. Every glowing vein in the soil pulsed once, twice, and then froze. Parker whispered, She's found us. Without warning, the ground erupted. Roots speared upward, slicing through stone. Austin dove aside, rolling as jagged tendrils tore through the cave floor. Natalia reacted instantly. Her hands flared with that same electric light as she slashed through the roots, cutting a path through the chaos. Move! She shouted. They sprinted through a narrow opening, the earth collapsing behind them. Austin stumbled, but Parker caught him, dragging him forward as the tunnel lit up with flashes of blue and red from the Queen's energy blasts above. When they burst into open air again, the forest was ablaze with violet fire. The Queen hovered above the treetops, her shadow cast across miles. Austin's breath caught in his throat. You can't fight that. Natalia turned, her gaze sharp. We don't fight her, we run. But she's now. They sprinted through the burning forest, the light of the Queen chasing their shadows. The hum of her voice echoed everywhere, whispering in languages Austin couldn't understand. His mind flickered. Flashes of other worlds, other fires, other victims. Every civilization that had ever called light to survive, only to summon her instead. Parker grabbed his arm again. Don't listen to her. That's how she hunts. Austin blinked, sweat running down his face. She's in my head. Natalia spun suddenly, raising her arm toward the canopy. A surge of violet energy exploded from her palm, snapping a massive glass leaf tree in half. The trunk fell, crashing into the burning ground, blocking the Queen's sightline. They ducked beneath it, panting. Austin leaned against the fallen trunk, staring at Natalia's glowing hands. You control energy, like her. Natalia's expression darkened. We're made from the same pulse. Just less pure. Less pure? Parker cut in. Don't make her explain right now. She pointed toward a ridge ahead, where the forest thinned and the light faded into darkness. That ridge leads to the dead zone. The Queen won't follow us there. Why not? Natalia's voice was low. Because nothing alive returns from it. Austin hesitated. Then why are we going? Parker's eyes met his. Because you've already doomed the living part of this world. The ground rumbled again, closer. The Queen's shadow stretched over them like an eclipse. The hum grew sharper, piercing. Austin felt his heartbeat sync with the vibration. Then skip. He gasped, stumbling. Parker caught him again, pressing her glowing wristband against his chest. The pulse broke instantly. Don't let her take your rhythm, she said. She feeds on it. Austin's eyes widened. She feeds on heartbeats? She feeds on life itself. Natalia was already moving again, sprinting toward the ridge. Parker followed, dragging Austin along. Behind them, the Queen unleashed another scream, a wave of energy that flattened entire trees. The ridge loomed ahead like a wall of obsidian. The air beyond shimmered, colder, darker. Austin could feel the change, like the planet itself ended there. They reached the edge just as another explosion tore through the forest behind them. Parker shoved Austin forward. Jump! He hesitated. Into what? Does it matter? Natalia shouted. It's death either way. The Queen's roar filled the world. Austin took one last look at the burning forest, at the violet light consuming everything. Then he jumped. Darkness swallowed him instantly. No sound, no gravity, just endless black. The air in the ruins was colder than space. Austin's breath fogged inside his helmet as his eyes adjusted to the dark. Faint symbols pulsed along the walls, marks that looked carved by claws rather than tools. Parker crouched near a broken column, running her fingers over a set of glowing inscriptions. These were written before the Queen took the pulse. Natalia's gaze swept the cavern, and before the fire became forbidden. Austin moved closer. You said the first ones burned the sky. You mean? Outsiders, Parker said softly. Like you. Austin stared at the writing. The language was alien, but his translator flickered, grasping fragments. Fire. Signal. Awakening. They tried to harness the planet's energy, Natalia continued. They built cities, forged weapons, consumed its pulse. When they lit the first fire, it answered. The Queen? She was born from it. The chamber trembled, dust falling from the ceiling. Parker turned quickly. We don't have long. Even down here, she can still hear echoes of the flame. Austin looked around. The ruins stretched far. Ancient tunnels carved through obsidian stone. In the distance, a faint blue glow flickered like a dying heartbeat. There's something deeper in there. Natalia hesitated. That's where the first ones sealed their hearts. He frowned. Their what? Parker met his eyes. You'd call it a reactor. They called it the heart of flame. The tremors grew sharper. Austin adjusted his gear. If that thing's still alive, maybe it can help us stop her. Natalia stepped in front of him. No one touches the heart. It corrupts anything that breathes. Austin's jaw set. If it can kill the Queen, I'll take that risk. Parker studied him, the dirt on his face, the stubbornness burning in his eyes. Humans, she murmured, always think they can control what they don't understand. He met her stare. And yet you're still following me. A flicker of emotion crossed her face, almost a smile. For now. They moved deeper into the ruins. The air grew heavier, tinged with metallic scent. Every step echoed like a drumbeat. Strange murals lined the corridor, painted figures kneeling before pillars of light, their faces dissolving into flame. Austin whispered, "This place feels alive." Natalia glanced at him. That's because it is. The ruins still carry fragments of the pulse. Parker paused beside a mural showing a circle of beings casting a massive flame into the sky. Beneath it, symbols glowed faintly. And for a second, Austin swore he saw his own reflection staring back from within the light. He shivered. Why do I feel like it's watching me? Because it remembers, Parker said quietly. A sudden vibration rippled through the floor. Low, rhythmic, familiar. The Queen's hum. Austin looked upward. She's coming? Natalia's eyes narrowed. No, something else moves with her, something older. They reached a vast chamber at the core of the ruins. In its center floated a sphere of molten blue light, the heart. Lightning laced across its surface, illuminating the walls in brief flashes. Austin stepped forward, transfixed. "That's beautiful." Parker grabbed his arm. "Don't get too close." The heart pulsed once, a soundless thud that pushed air outward. Symbols along the walls flared to life, projecting visions. Ships burning in atmosphere, figures screaming, the queen rising from fire. Austin staggered back, shielding his eyes. "It's showing me the past." Natalia's voice was tight. "It's warning you." But another vision followed, a flash of a man, human like him, reaching toward the heart and splitting it into two fragments. One bright, one dark. Austin's mind raced. "There's another one." Parker frowned. "Another heart?" "Yes. Opposite charge. If we can find it, maybe we can use them together to neutralize her pulse." Natalia shook her head. "That's suicide." "So is doing nothing." Before Parker could answer, the ceiling above cracked open. Blue fire spilled through, searing the walls. The queen's hum turned into a roar that shook the chamber. "She found us!" Parker yelled. Austin turned toward the heart. "Then we use it." He sprinted forward. Natalia shouted, "Stop!" But it was too late. His hands met the sphere's surface. Energy shot through him, violent and blinding. Austin screamed as the pulse invaded every nerve, burning like molten glass through his veins. The heart reacted, its light flickering, twisting. The entire ruin trembled. Parker dashed forward, trying to pull him back, but a shockwave threw her against the wall. Natalia lunged next, slamming her palms into the ground, channeling energy to stabilize the chamber. "Let go!" she shouted. "I can't!" Austin's voice was fractured, layered, part human, part something else. "It's showing me everything." In his mind flashed endless images, civilizations across galaxies, each lighting fires, each summoning their own destroyers. The queen wasn't a creature. The ceiling exploded in a shower of blue fire. Stone turned to glass, air turned to sound. The queen descended through the breach like a storm wrapped in flesh. Every step she took melted the ground. Every breath distorted gravity. Austin staggered, shielding his eyes from the heat. The faint blue in his pupils blazed brighter, resonating with the heart behind him. Natalia shouted over the roar, "She's binding to the pulse." "She'll drain it all." Austin clenched his jaw. "Then I'll drain her first." Parker spun toward him. "You can't fight her. You're part of the same signal now. If she breaks, you break." Austin's voice was calm, hollow. "Maybe that's the trade." The queen's shadow stretched across the chamber, tendrils of light reaching toward them. When her gaze fixed on Austin, the air stilled. Her voice slid into his head, smooth and infinite. "Child of flame. You lit the sky again." Austin winced as memories not his own flooded in. Ancient fires, dying planets, echoes of others who had stood where he stood now. Parker gripped his shoulder. "Block her out!" "I'm trying." His heartbeat matched the pulse thrumming through the ruin. The queen's tendrils lashed forward. Parker darted aside, rolling behind a fallen column, and hurled a blade of glowing crystal. It sliced through the air, but the weapon disintegrated before touching the queen's skin. Natalia slammed her palms into the floor. Violet energy shot upward, forming a barrier. The impact shattered it instantly, throwing her backward. Austin sprinted toward the heart. "She's feeding on the core's power." "I have to cut the link." Parker's eyes widened. "If you touch it again..." He didn't answer. He pressed his hands to the sphere. This time the energy didn't resist. It welcomed him. Lines of blue light raced up his arms, mapping veins like circuitry. His vision fractured into 1,000 streams of information. Temperature, magnetic flow, biorhythm, the entire heartbeat of the planet. And beneath it all, the queen's own rhythm pulsed like a dark drum. Austin whispered, "I can see her pattern." Natalia, gasping as she rose, stared at him. "You're reading the pulse directly?" "More than that," he said through gritted teeth. "I can bend it." The chamber flickered. Every glowing vein in the walls shifted from blue to white, syncing with his heartbeat. The queen hesitated. Her form flickered, uncertain. Parker's eyes widened. "He's destabilizing her!" The queen screamed, a sound that cracked the ruins. Enough! Her wings unfolded, vast and blinding. A wave of fire surged toward Austin. He threw his arms up, and the blast stopped midair. The flames bent backward, curling around him like ribbons of glass. Parker stared. He's turning her own fire against her, Natalia finished. Austin pushed forward, each step shaking the ground. You wanted the pulse? His voice echoed like thunder. Then feel it break. He thrust both hands toward the queen. A beam of pure white light erupted, slamming into her chest. She shrieked, the sound tearing through dimensions. But the power was too much. The heart behind him cracked, lightning spilling across the chamber. Austin fell to one knee, blood streaking his nose. Parker ran to him. Stop! You'll destroy yourself. If I stop, she wins. The queen struck again, massive claws of energy descending. Parker leapt in front of Austin, crossing her arms. The blow hurled her backward, slamming her against the far wall. She cried out but didn't fall. Natalia unleashed a final surge of violet light, slicing through one of the queen's wings. The creature roared, the entire ruin trembling. Austin forced himself up, voice shaking. I can't kill her. Not yet. But I can sever the pulse. He turned his focus inward. The rhythm of the planet, the queen, the heart, all of it collided inside him. He found the exact frequency that bound them and broke it. The world went silent. A blinding flash swallowed everything. When it faded, the queen stumbled back, her form flickering like dying starlight. The hum that once filled the air vanished. For the first time, there was real silence. She looked down at him, eyes hollow, wings folding. You have undone the rhythm, Austin whispered. Good. The queen screamed one final time, her body unraveling into dust and light, scattering into the wind. Then the chamber collapsed. Parker rushed to Austin, pulling him toward the exit as the heart cracked open, spilling rivers of molten blue across the floor. Natalia guided them through falling debris, energy flaring from her hands to deflect shards. They burst through a collapsing tunnel, diving behind a ridge just as the entire ruin imploded in a column of blue fire. Silence. The night sky above them was clear, no hum, no glow. The forest was still again. Austin lay on his back, staring upward. The blue glow had faded from his eyes. Is it over? Parker exhaled, her shoulders trembling. The pulse is broken. The queen's connection is gone. Natalia gazed at the burning horizon. But so is the balance. The planet will change now. Austin sat up slowly. Change how? The fire will spread, she said. Without the queen to control it, the pulse will seek a new host. He frowned. Meaning? Parker looked at him with quiet dread. Meaning it might choose you. Austin glanced at his hands. Faint blue veins still shimmered beneath the skin. The pulse was still inside him, dormant, waiting. Far across the valley, the ground glowed faintly once more, as if the world had taken a slow, uncertain breath. The queen was gone, but something else had just awakened. The first dawn came without birdsong, only the whisper of ash drifting through the tree line, glowing faintly in the newborn light. Austin stood on the ridge, his flight jacket torn, the sky above him divided between soft gold and the dying blue of the pulse fire. Parker and Natalia moved behind him, silent, scanning the horizon that shimmered like a breathing scar. Natalia broke the quiet. The heart's destruction unbound the rhythm, but it's not gone. The energy, it's shifting. Austin flexed his hands. Thin veins of blue light coiled under his skin, pulsing to an invisible beat. It's inside me, isn't it? Parker adjusted the grip on her blade. It's not just inside you. It's responding to you. He turned toward her, eyes faintly glowing again. What does that mean? It means the planet recognizes you as its pulse bearer. The words settled heavy between them. Austin looked toward the forest that had once shimmered with alien life. Now the ground trembled as if exhaling. Trees twisted. Roots tore through the soil. Far off, a deep hum began, a low, resonant vibration that crawled up their spines. Natalia's voice was grim. That sound, it's the pulse searching for its new alignment. The world's trying to rebuild itself. Austin frowned. And if it chooses wrong? Parker's answer was quiet. Then everything burns. They trekked down the ridge, the air thick with static. Every step sent sparks beneath Austin's boots, tiny bursts of blue that followed like fireflies. "Stop!" Natalia whispered suddenly. She crouched, brushing her fingers through the dirt. The soil pulsed faintly, beating in sync with Austin's heart. He froze. "That's not possible." "It's sinking," she said. "Your rhythm and the planet's, it's merging." A branch cracked behind them. Parker turned instantly, weapon raised. Shapes moved through the smoke. Dozens of glowing silhouettes, faintly humanoid, their eyes the same eerie blue as Austin's. "Are those?" he began. "Echo-born," Natalia said. "Fragments of the Queen's old link, reforming through the residual energy." The silhouettes advanced slowly, heads tilting in perfect unison. They weren't attacking yet, just watching, studying. Austin whispered, "They look like they're waiting for something." Parker's jaw clenched. "They're waiting for orders from whoever controls the pulse now." Realization hit all at once. Austin shook his head. "No, I'm not their leader." But the Echo-born bowed, every single one. Their blue eyes dimmed in synchrony. Natalia took a step back. "They recognize your resonance. You broke the Queen's pattern. You inherited her command frequency." Parker's voice was tight. "That means they'll follow you, or kill for you." "I didn't ask for this," Austin snapped. "I'm not like her." The ground split open beneath them. Blue light surged upward, forming a circular pattern beneath Austin's feet, runic symbols spinning like gears. Natalia shouted, "It's linking you fully!" The planet's final bind. Austin tried to move, but his legs locked in place. The energy wrapped around him like chains of light. He screamed as the pulse forced its way through every nerve, searing his vision white. Parker lunged forward. "Austin!" The Echo-born turned on her instantly, forming a wall of glowing bodies. They didn't strike, just blocked her path. She snarled, "Move!" The creatures didn't. Their voices rose in a single unified tone, a hollow chant vibrating the air. The trees bent toward Austin as if bowing to him. The clouds above spun in a spiral. A column of light shot from the ground straight into the heavens. Natalia shielded her eyes. "He's crossing into the core link. If he completes it, there's no going back." Inside the beam, Austin saw flashes, images of the Queen, the heart, and something deeper. The memory of the planet itself. It wasn't evil. It was ancient, tired, desperate to survive. The Queen had enslaved it. Now it wanted freedom, and Austin was the bridge. He forced his thoughts outward, speaking not to Parker or Natalia, but to the planet itself. "If I take this power, we change the rules." The pulse hesitated, then responded. The beam collapsed. Austin dropped to his knees, smoke curling from his skin. The runes dimmed. The Echo-born froze, motionless. Parker reached him first, grabbing his shoulders. "Austin, talk to me. What happened?" He looked up, eyes now burning pure white. "It listened." Natalia stepped closer. "What did you tell it?" Austin stood, his voice trembling but steady. "That I won't be its weapon. I'll guide it, if it lets me live." The Echo-born bowed again, but this time, one by one, they disintegrated into particles of light, returning to the earth. Silence fell. Parker exhaled shakily. "So, that's it? It accepted you?" Austin stared at his hands, the glow slowly fading. "It accepted a deal. But deals with worlds don't last forever." A sudden quake rippled through the forest, stronger than before. The horizon tore open, massive geysers of blue fire erupting into the sky. Natalia's expression hardened. "It's beginning a renewal cycle. If the energy spreads unchecked, this entire region will ignite." Austin's heartbeat quickened. "Then we stop it." Parker looked at him. "How?" He turned toward the trembling horizon. "By doing what she never did, control it without becoming it." The forest cracked with another roar, brighter than dawn. Austin stepped forward, pulse light flickering across his face. Parker and Natalia followed close behind. The planet had chosen him. Now he had to prove he deserved it. Far above, the twin moons aligned perfectly for the first time in centuries. The air shimmered with unseen motion, like the world was holding its breath before something vast awoke beneath the surface. Natalia whispered, "It's not over." The pulse is moving deeper. Austin's eyes glowed faintly again. "Then we follow it." And the three of them descended into the heart of the world, toward the rhythm that had begun to dream. The descent felt endless. The tunnel wasn't carved. It was alive, shifting as they moved. Blue veins pulsed through the walls, and each beat answered Austin's own. Parker gripped her blade tight. "How far down does this go?" Natalia's voice was a whisper. "To the planet's heart, the true core, where the rhythm was born." The air grew heavier, almost liquid. Every breath shimmered like vapor. Beneath them, a distant thrum shook the ground. Slow, patient, powerful. Austin felt it calling him, not with words but with resonance, like the world itself was breathing through his lungs. "I can feel it," he said softly. "It's not angry anymore. Just waiting." "Waiting for what?" Parker asked. He looked down the glowing corridor. "For me to choose." They emerged into a vast chasm, the pulse core. The walls curved like the inside of a living heart, light dripping like blood from a wound. In the center floated a colossal sphere of energy, the same color as the Queen's fire, but calmer, older. Natalia stopped short. "This is the source." Austin stepped closer. "No, this is the conscience." Parker frowned. "The planet has a conscience?" "Every world does," he said. "But this one remembers too much pain." He placed a hand against the air around the core. It thrummed, and a low tone rippled outward. The walls lit up, forming symbols older than language. Natalia translated under her breath. Balance through burden, creation through loss. Parker's gaze darted between them. "What does that mean?" Austin's jaw tightened. "It means to save it. Someone has to anchor the rhythm, permanently." The realization hit both women at once. Parker's voice cracked. "You mean it needs a host?" Austin nodded slowly. "And I'm already half-linked. If I resist it, the pulse fractures and this world dies. If I accept it," Natalia finished quietly, "you cease to be human." He turned, eyes glowing faintly white. "Maybe that's the only way this ends." Parker stepped closer, grabbing his arm. "You can't just decide that." "We'll find another way." Austin smiled faintly. "You always say that." The ground shuddered. Cracks of light tore across the chamber. The pulse flared, thrumming faster. Chaotic, desperate. Natalia shouted, "It's destabilizing!" The links collapsing. Austin faced the core. "Then it's chosen." Parker's voice broke. "Austin, don't..." He pressed his palm against the sphere. The impact shook the world. Light exploded. His body arched backward, suspended in the air, as streams of blue fire poured into him. His scream became a soundless pulse that flattened the air. The veins of the planet burned white, spreading outward for miles. Parker shielded her eyes. "Austin!" Natalia stumbled, clutching her chest. "He's merging with it." Inside the light, Austin saw everything. Oceans boiling, skies torn, civilizations that had once thrived here before the Queen's reign. The pulse showed him the truth. It was never meant to enslave, only to sustain. But greed had poisoned it. He whispered into the radiance, "Let me carry it. Just me. No more hosts, no more queens." The energy hesitated, then accepted. Outside, the chasm erupted in a storm of blue flame. Parker and Natalia were hurled backward against the walls as shockwaves tore through the ground. When the light finally dimmed, the pulse core was gone. The walls no longer pulsed. They glowed softly, breathing like calm after rain. Austin lay in the center, motionless. Parker crawled toward him, shaking. "Austin, please." She touched his chest. No heartbeat, only silence. Natalia knelt beside her, tears in her eyes. He saved it. The walls pulsed once, slowly. Then Austin inhaled. Both women froze. His eyes opened, glowing faint gold now instead of blue. The light was warm, steady. Parker laughed through tears. "You're alive!" Austin sat up slowly. His voice was quieter, deeper, layered with an echo that wasn't entirely human. "Alive? Maybe, but different." Natalia studied him. "You stabilized the rhythm. The planet's pulse, it's inside you now." He nodded. "And it's quiet." Finally, Parker reached for him. "Can you control it?" Austin looked at his hand. The faint glow responded, pulsing in rhythm with the world around them. Not control, guide. Above, the ceiling cracked open, revealing sunlight for the first time in centuries. The air shifted, clean, bright, filled with distant song. The forest outside shimmered with new life. Natalia smiled faintly. "You restored the balance." Austin stood, looking toward the sky. "No, we did." As they climbed back to the surface, the world changed around them. Flowers grew from the ash. Rivers of blue faded into clear water. The hum that once haunted the planet turned into soft wind. But as they reached the ridge, Austin paused. His reflection in the water flickered, not fully human anymore. His veins still glowed faintly beneath the skin. Parker noticed. "You okay?" He smiled faintly. "Yeah, just, adjusting." Natalia gazed across the horizon. "So what happens now?" Austin exhaled, watching the distant mountains shimmer. "Now, we make sure it never happens again. This world has a second chance. So do we." The wind carried the faint echo of the pulse, steady, peaceful. Parker stepped beside him. "And if it ever rises again?" Austin looked up at the twin moons. "Then it won't be fighting a pilot this time." He glanced at them both, eyes glowing softly. "It'll be fighting a guardian." The camera would pull back then, the three of them standing at the edge of a healed world, the ruins of the Queen's reign fading into memory, and the light of renewal spreading across the sky. The last heartbeat of the planet synced perfectly with Austin's. And the world finally breathed again.